Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Erickson TV. Curtis here with Lauren. Hey Lauren.
Hey everybody.
Lauren, I understand you've been reading the book.
Yes, I have been reading Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, which is one of the most useful books that I have ever read, and it is one of the few books that I would strongly recommend to everybody. And it is a book about how to make better decisions. And it is particularly applicable to anybody who is trying to make decisions about a small business, who is trying to make long-term plans of any kind. So, Curtis and I work with people on tax planning and investment planning. If you read this book, you will have a much better understanding of why it's so important to work not just on the facts and figures of tax planning and investment planning or business planning, but also to actually think about your own decision-making process and how you go about making decisions. One of the most powerful stories in this book, which I've been thinking about a lot lately because it applies pretty directly to my own life, Daniel Kahneman in the book talks about one of his biggest professional failures. And it was a failure where he dramatically underestimated how difficult a project would be and dramatically underestimated how likely this project would be to be successful. He was working at this time with the Israeli Ministry of Education. And this is in the 1950s when there were a lot of new teaching methods coming out. And the Israeli Ministry of Education wanted him to develop a class for high school students about how to make better decisions, which seems like it would be a great idea. So he got a group together and they started coming up with a syllabus and started writing a textbook. And after a few months, they were feeling really good. They'd gotten a lot accomplished, they were moving forward rapidly. And he asked the team, how long do you think it will take to finish this textbook? The average answer was that it would take 2 years.
Okay.
So everybody was pretty happy and were willing to commit to doing this textbook if it was only going to take about 2 years. Then he turned to one of the members in the team and he asked him, there have been a lot of other teams who are at similar points in developing a textbook. How long did it take them to finish? Let's look at other examples out. And the guy said, he blushed a little bit and he said, to be real honest, I hadn't been thinking about this when I made my estimate, but a lot of those teams never finished at all. He said about 40% of them never finished the textbook. And of those that did finish, none of them finished in less than 7 years.
7 years.
Not one single team. And Kahneman says his whole team got pretty depressed upon hearing this. But unfortunately, none of them took these facts into account. Even knowing that nobody out there had finished a similar sort of textbook in less than 7 years, they continued to just believe overconfidently that they could finish in around 2 years.
2 years, okay. So what ended up happening?
It took them 8 years to finish the textbook. By the time they were finally finished with it, the Israeli Ministry of Education had no interest in doing the curriculum anymore. Now, of course, if they had known how long it was going to take at the time they made the decision, they'd have never committed to putting forth all those resources and all that time and all that energy into making the textbook.
It would have moved to probably a different project.
Right, yeah, exactly. They would have gone on and done more productive, more profitable, more useful things with their life.
So I can see how that would apply to a business startup.
Absolutely.
It could apply to just coming up with a financial strategy.
Yes, exactly. We think that this stuff is going to be easier than it really is. We think we're going to get it done faster than we really do, and we think we're going to need less help than we're really going to need. When you're starting a business, doing a financial plan, all that kind of stuff. So Curtis and I are financial planners and we're accountants, but that also means if you work with people on taxes, you do work with them on business planning, at least somewhat. And I think that everyone can benefit from making better decisions, and one of the primary ways you benefit from making better decisions is be more honest about other people in similar circumstances. What has happened to them and what have they done? And not be so convinced of your own optimism.
Right, that makes sense. Well, thank you, Lauren. That was very interesting. And we'll see you next time on Erickson TV.
See you next time.
Bye now.